Pantry Challenge 2024 started off with a bang. We got 30 pounds of ground beef out of the freezer, cooked it up, and canned up 16 pints of the ground beef, cooked, 12 quarts of chili, and 7 quarts of vegetable beef soup, which came in very handy because the next day the weather turned cold. Very cold. We got lots of ice, sleet, not really much snow, but oh my goodness, it was cold. Birdies left their little prints on the deck. We had a roaring fire in the fireplace, and it gave me a chance to really straighten up some in the pantry. From the freezers and the pantry, we've had Cuban sandwiches with tater tots, lasagna with homemade French bread, and a batch of sugar cookies. Up next, I gathered all the things we would need from the freezer for beef stroganoff with a side of green beans. Then to our casserole pan. This is a cast iron pan with enamel on the inside, which I absolutely love. We are going to add 2 pints of roast beef that was cubed and canned back in the fall. Now this is roast beef that I found on sale. I stocked up and canned it. I ended up with 12 pints. So these are the first 2 that we have used, and they are wonderful. So I'm just going to put them in the pan. I'm going to use the jar itself to kind of chop them up a little bit, and then we're going to let them heat up. Now to 1 cup of water, I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. And this is what I'm going to use to thicken it all up. I end up not using all of the cup, but about 2/3 of it. So we'll stir that up good and get it mixed. Next, we're going to add a little can of mushrooms to the pan. Here I'm adding 2 tablespoons or 1 package of French onion soup mix. Next up is a sprinkling of garlic powder, probably a ½ teaspoon or so. More if you like garlic, less if you don't care for it so much. And then we're adding Worcestershire sauce. Worcestershire sauce. You know, that stuff in the bottle. I'm adding 4 tablespoons. And again, add more if you like, less if you don't so much. Once everything's been cooking for about 5 minutes, I'm going to give the green beans and onions a stir. Make sure they're bubbling and doing their thing. I've got the water boiling for the egg noodles. I'm not quite ready to put those in yet. And I'm going to stir my big pot. And it's starting to bubble and smelling fantastic. Add the lid and let it simmer for another 5 minutes or so. At that point, you're ready to cook your egg noodles. And this is a 2-cup measure, and I'm going to fill it up. If I can get them to come out of the jar. Well, aren't they being contrary? More than one way to skin a noodle. And off to the bubbling water they go, just until cooked al dente. Stir them occasionally and check them ever so often. At this point, I'm ready to add the cornstarch to the big pot. I'm going to stir it in, and like I say, ended up only using about 2/3 of this cup. And it was just perfect, thickened up right nice. So, I'm going to stir it in good. Replace the lid and let it keep cooking until the noodles are ready. And once I have the noodles drained and sitting to the side ready to put in, I'm going to add 1 cup of sour cream. The sour cream will add a silky, smooth consistency to the stroganoff and a touch of tanginess. You don't have to put it in there if you're not real fond of that tanginess, but it's really what makes stroganoff stroganoff. Now here's where you take your time and stir it in really well. And it kind of melts into the dish. And in no time, you have got this wonderful, luscious creaminess. And you're ready to add the noodles. Pour them all in. Give it a good stir. Now I'm using a thinner egg noodle because that's what we really prefer. The traditional way to make it is with a thicker egg noodle. But you use whatever you like. And by thicker, I mean wider. Not thick, but wider. And now we're ready to serve. Boy, let me tell you, I was hungry after smelling all of this cooking for the last few minutes. Now, we typically just have green beans on the side. You could do a salad. You could do French toast. Add the things that you like. Thankfully, the next day, the sun was out. The ice was still hanging on, but boy, we needed to get out of the house. I made us up some De-Icer with 2 cups of rubbing alcohol, 1 cup of water, a few drops of dish soap, put it all in a spray bottle, and it works great to melt the ice off of the windshield. And it works a little bit in preventing it from coming back at least so thick. On this night, I made a Mexican chicken casserole. I used 2 jars of my canned chicken, 1 cup of sour cream, 4 ounces of cream cheese, what was left in a bottle of salsa, a little can of green chilies. I stirred in some black beans, decided I wanted to add corn, stirred that up, put it in a pan, crumbled some Doritos on top, added cheese, and baked at 350 for 30 minutes. And to finish up the week, just as I suspected, we needed a couple of things from the grocery store. Diet Coke, milk, and some of the carb-balanced tortillas that Papa uses for breakfast. We also got juice and water for our granddaughter's birthday. Well, so far so good. Week 1 was a success. How's yours going? Drop me a note below and let me know. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.